All right, and we are sort of kind of live. The big one, Ninja Gaiden 4. The Lords get a chance to go hands on, break it down for you. Again, shout out to Xbox and shout out to Team Platinum Games and shout out to Team Ninja. You know, we had a chance to, at least I had a chance to visit Platinum Games Studio in Japan and go hands on. We've got content for you there with a great interview, but this is the Lords breaking down the gameplay after the fact. This is the Lord's really putting us through his paces. Lord Addict, let's start with you. How we feeling? And we got a lot to talk about, so let's get down to the particulars.
Yeah, so first thing I want to get into really and break down is like how exactly this event take place. What did you have access to? Who did you interview? Because there's more content than just this content. And exactly, you know, how much of the game did you play?
Yeah, good question. So, shout out to again Xbox and Platinum Games and Teenage. Very transparent. So I got about, I would say, over 2.5 hours of just uninterrupted go play the game, and I believe it was the story mode of Act One in completion, as well as the challenge mode, which allowed you to debut playing Ryu Hayabusa for the first time. And you could basically use him in Chapter 1, Chapter 2, which was brand new, which didn't have story mode, and then Chapter 3 as well. And yeah, that was pretty much the setup as far as gameplay was concerned. And then as far as interviews, we had I had two interview opportunities. So one was again the big one that you guys will see up on the Iron Lords podcast channel, which would be the director Nakayo-san from the Platinum Game side, right? Very young cat, very very passionate. And then on the Team Ninja side, the OG side, you had Hariyama-san. And again, this was a very unique situation because it was a joint collaboration between Platinum Games, Team Ninja, and then obviously I'll talk about how this thing came about, which is a great story. And then the second interview was kind of me dealing with the lead designer, I believe, the art director, and then the I believe it was Nishi, the composer, Mayuchi, and then the level design and environment, Abisan. And what you'll realize is that everyone's young. I realized I was like, it was just one thing I want to give credit. It was a very youthful energy throughout. And it felt like, you know, young Platinum Games. You know, obviously they've gone through their metamorphosis and stuff, but it was really cool to get the feedback from the teams. And we asked a lot of questions and we could get into, you know, what we asked and what we discussed. But that was kind of the setup of my studio trip. And then, yeah, just back to playing more Ninja Gaiden and what they had. I saw some master level play also as well. So just stuff that I could aspire to if I ever decided to hit the master ninja ranks. But that was pretty much my experience in Japan.
What did you play Ninja Gaiden 4 on?
All right, so we played it on PC, and it was definitely a high-performing rig. I was very specific to ask, how would console performance be? And at the time, they weren't ready to talk about it, but now that we obviously have the preview build and you know, me and you got our hands on, one thing I can say.
To elaborate, the preview build is on the Xbox.
On the Xbox console. Series X
console. So it's an actual build on the Xbox. It's not no PC stuff. It's on the Xbox.
Right. And I'm happy to report now I can talk about there are 3 modes. There's prioritized frame rate. There's prioritized fidelity. And one thing that I really want to give the teams a lot of credit, 120 hertz mode on Series X, not on Series S, but on Series X, you have 120. And when I spoke to Xbox Game Studios Japan behind the scenes, they told me that Team Platinum really stressed. One thing you're going to learn about everything we're going to talk about today: speed, speed, speed. That is something that was prioritized. They fought for it. They pushed the engineering guys. They pushed the console guys. They wanted this on consoles to be at 120 frames per second, to have that option. And I know the PC build that we had played, but I can happily confirm Series X consoles 120 hertz. And I did hear PlayStation 5 will have that mode as well. And that's a testament to the teams. You rarely see that from a level of this game that's in Unreal Engine 5.
Coming from someone, you know, we are not shy from doing these previews and going to the, you know, a third party entity. Was you at like an actual one of their studios, or were you at a third party place over there?
Yeah, this was the studio, bro. It was super cool. I mean, it was time. Like I took a picture of obviously the Platinum Games logo, the iconic, you know, logo, and Yeah, it was cool. There was stuff I couldn't couldn't take pictures of obviously stuff from their iconic, think of everything iconic franchise that they've done. And I was like, man, that's really cool. They like, no, you can't do that. So I had to respect that and stuff like that. But yeah, we were in the studio. They do have another office where when I had that remote interview with the music level designer and what you call it, composer and stuff like that, that was they were in the other satellite Platinum Games location. But yes, I was in Platinum Games, their studio.
All right, so let's get into like the gameplay features of this. All right, so obviously this is a collab studio. Team Ninja and Platinum, people that normally handle Ninja Gaiden, and then the people that do similar type of style games, but in a different vein. This type of collab doesn't happen very often in the gaming industry. And what I was noticing when I was, editing and doing everything is one studio works on one character and the other studio works on the other. And that's kind of interesting, too, where, I'm sure all of Team Ninja's not working on Ryo's gameplay, but they probably got a select few people that's probably been there, know what they're doing, and they're working on his individual character. And taken from someone that played both, because I made sure to play both, a good amount of both. They do play entirely different, like they're in two entirely different games. So how did you take that playing this, and what was your distinguish between the two game styles?
Yeah, no, before we even get into the styles, I'm glad you mentioned that because you don't never see this type of collaboration before. And I would be remiss to not mention that I did ask, how did this happen? You don't see two separate studios working together on a game. It's like, hey, Obsidian and, but that, let's do whatever. Like you don't see it, right? So it's rare to say it. And the way it's explained is Team Ninja wanted, the legacy to be respected. Platinum had a desire. And on a top level, the presidents of both companies, from what I was explained, was told, are friends. So it came down to, hey, the idea was pitched. Hey, what if we did a Ninja Gaiden 4? Because here's the thing, Lord Addict. It's been through 2012 was Ninja Gaiden 3. It's been that long. 2012 since we got a Ninja Gaiden game. So this was talked about, and then this is why I have to give shout out to Xbox and Phil Spencer. This was something that they helped facilitate. They said, hey, what can we do to help you guys get this dream project across the finish line?
Yeah, because keep in mind, two studios working on one game is not cheap.
That ain't easy. So not only did Xbox provide the tools and help with some of the resources, and again, they were very humble. They said, look, these guys had the idea. They didn't want to steal credit from Team Ninja or Platinum, but it was clear as day when I spoke to, again, Xbox Game Studios Japan, when I spoke to Team Ninja and I asked the question, Phil Spencer's name came up, Xbox Game Studios Japan came up as far as facilitating it. Now, as far as to your main question about the two characters, yeah, this was the first time we got to play as Ryu Hayabusa, and that was in the challenge modes. But I got to set off to the young OG, man. Shout out to Yakumo. This is a Platinum Games created character. He is smaller in stature. He is very fast. He had the two-sword style. And obviously the key mechanic that they're doing is this Blood Raven, where you hold down the left trigger and then you can break down the defenses and you can break down and do more elaborate moves. Now Ryu, he has his own distinct style. I believe it's called Gleam, and he does a lot of powerful moves in his own thing. And obviously his classic things, the Zuna drop and the Nimpo magic that we've known for more the years. But I gotta say this. As I'm Norkai Dito, the gaming ninja. Like, I'm a Ryu guy, like, respectfully. But when I play Yakuba, I'm like, man, this dude's fine. Like, I didn't think when you play story mode, you start off with him. I wasn't missing Ryu. I ain't gonna hold you. And a lot of it has to do with the key with Platinum's influence. The thing I have to stress is speed, speed, speed. You hold up, he's doing a run. You don't see that in the Ninja Gaiden games. Sliding, it's moving at a frenetic pace. The wall running, everything is frenetic. You don't have to, he doesn't drop off the wall when he wall runs very quickly. It just feels really good. There's way more in-depth stuff to talk about. I'll let you go, but that was my initial impression when I was playing Yakuma. What was your question?
Did you feel like Ryu's starting to show his age in gameplay at all? Or like going from, the newer character to the older character? Because like to me, when they do stuff like this, they normally like this is like passing the torch. They want to start introducing new characters, see who grabs, who doesn't grab. And to me, this would be a good moment of like, Ryu slowly passing the torch. Because a lot of companies have tried to do this. Capcom tried to do this with Dante and Nero, and it kind of was bumpy. Master Chief tried to do this with Locke. That was a complete flop. Gears of War tried to do this with JD and Marcus, and that was very mixed signals. But most of the time when this happens, it's not received well. From what you've seen, do you think they're doing a good job? Because this could not be passing the torch. It could just be elevating another character that may even spawn his own spin-off games. Or it could be something goes down and Ryu isn't in the game going into the future.
I see what you're doing with this old and young. You got Ryu on my side. You got Yakumo. Okay, I see you. But I ain't going front. I ain't gonna hold you. The young boy got it. He's a young master ninja. The game narrowly sets it up that look, they're rival clans, but they're doing it for the good of saving this, evil, what's going on, dragon and curse. It's always the fiends and the dragons and demons in Ninja Gaiden, right? So basically, the Raven clan, where Yakumo, they've been in the style, they've been doing their thing, but the Hayabusa clan is like the prominent clan that gets all the credit. So we don't know where this narrative is going to go, but it's clear at some point, because we've seen in trailers that they are going to clash at some point and maybe figure out how to work together later. Now, we don't know what happens with Ryu and stuff like that, but we will see. But I will say, Yakumo had made such a dope impression on me, even English dub, moveset, fighting style, that I'm not going to front. It's rare that the game does this successfully. Because you know what I think about? Remember, I don't know if you're old enough, but they tried this with Metal Gear.
A lot of people lost their mind.
Exactly.
That might have been the original pass the torch moment.
Right. Now, the difference here is that in Metal Gear, you started off with Snake. Everybody's like, yes, this is a Metal Gear game. And then after you get the big shell or whatever the level was, it was right in. And people were like, yo, what's going on? I'm not feeling it. What they do here is you start off as Yakumo from the jump, right? And it's interesting. But I will give Platinum credit. To their credit, with the challenge mode, because remember, I feel like the story is driving you one way. You're going to pick a certain character, and then I guess the other character come in on certain levels and stuff like that. But in challenge mode, you got the option to replay the stages as who you want to play. And I thought that was a cool touch that we got a chance to see in the demo. You could play, because when you play story mode Act 1, it was really Yakumo's you play predominantly, but you can play challenge mode with Ryu Hayabusa round 1. But we'll see what happens. But so far, great impressions of the new character and where they're going. And I think that's a good sign for Platinum Games and the series just in general, that people, I think, will like Yakumo a lot.
Question. Did you ever play Devil May Cry 4?
Very
That's
little.
the one where Nero was the first. So how they essentially did it is you fought Dante as Nero, and it was the tutorial, and then you played the rest of the game with Nero, get to about to the middle, and something happens to Nero, he's no longer on screen, and you played the later end of the game as Dante. And then when, essentially what happens is it gets to a situation where Dante gets to where Nero is, being incapacitated, and he frees him, and you play the rest of the game as Nero fighting with Dante. So okay. What I like about this is it does give me, those vibes where, because let's be honest, if they want Ninja Gaiden to be a long-term thing, because it's the point when you get these games where something has to change eventually, because it's like I said, Master Chief, they try to do it with him. They have tried to pass the torch with so many franchises, and they always messed up and dropped the ball. But what I've noticed on here is I haven't really seen too many people, as long as they do the story right, because
that's gonna be the key.
Regardless what happens in this introductory, regardless what happens at the beginning, if they start giving someone it's got to make sense. Correct. If you're going to take screen time away from Ryu, it's got to make sense why you're doing it. Right. And especially starting the game as him, it kind of makes me feel like I don't know if they're going to go like a mentor kind of thing where Ryu is just clearly more powerful than him and he's like mentoring him throughout the game, or if it's going to be one of those scenarios where, because they fight eventually, because that's in the trailer. Yeah. So I don't know if that's going to be, because that's another thing. It's like power wise too. Like you people have been playing with Ryu all this time. People will be very upset if it's a draw.
You gotta see how it's gonna go. So they're keeping that close.
Yeah. So it's got to be one of those things where it's like it makes sense if he has the power advantage over you. Lore wise, it has to make sense. It can't just be one of those things because they want to introduce someone new. They just have him overshadowing the MC from the original.
I can see the Ryu community getting upset. But again, one thing I got the sense is that from the Team Ninja side, when we're speaking to the devs there, they have such
and that will be in the description below, guys. We'll put the interview that we did interview the essentially not the people that own Team Ninja and Platinum, but like the lead people on Team Ninja and Platinum, that the two people working from directors. Each company working together for this one game.
Yeah, and it was really cool because you could see the reverence, the respect that Platinum has for Team Ninja in that respect, and the characters and stuff like that. And then you can see Platinum saying, "Okay, now
and Platinum fought for him. They wanted to put him in."
Yeah,
but what I liked about the interview is even in that he said, "Look, we wanted new blood in Ninja Gaiden, but we also wanted to do right by Ryu's fans as well."
Exactly, and that's a cool. And you can see, and another thing that they stressed as well is using obviously at the top of this year we got the Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, remake into Game Pass, and everyone went crazy. Like we never thought we'd get Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Ninja Gaiden 2 is considered the GOAT of the series.
And that was made by Team Ninja, right?
Correct. And the thing now is, seeing that when you speak to Platinum, you speak to the console, he used that as his influence. I told him, I was like, when I flew out there, I'm playing on my ally Ninja Gaiden 2 Black just as a refresher. And when I'm playing it and I'm telling him that he had the biggest smile. He's just like, because you could tell that's his favorite. So you could see that's a core DNA for where 4 is, but now they're evolving the formula and then the speed and all the stuff. And again, the dismemberment, it's stylish, it's bloody, it's same
very
gameplay.
Bloody.
Oh, frenetic dismember. It is insane. And all the new techniques that you could do, the Blood Raven style, the now fighting armor characters and utilizing the skill. It is so much new tools to the tool set. And it's super impressive. You were going to say something about that.
Yeah, I noticed like when I played, Ryu was more accurate and Yarba was more like brute force. Mm-hmm. Like, because I would say, because like to me, the only like criticism I would get from what I played of it, it's a fast game, but closing distance I felt was very weird. To close distance, like short amount of distances,
right.
That was probably the only thing I would say, because like I want to get up close fast, and I felt like sometimes like that would be a little. Now, obviously, I don't play Ninja Gaiden a whole lot. I would say that this is like one of those franchises where it's accessible to everyone, but to master, that's where the gap happens.
Yeah,
you could go in here, put this on easy, and be just fine. But I was struggling some on normal because it's not. It's one of those things where it's like I said. I was playing with Homeboy, the new character, and Yukumo, and he felt like very quick, very brute force, using his new blood moves. And Ryo, when I felt like he was more, I'm gonna be very precise when I counter and fight you. Like, and that's I can't begin to describe how weird it is because they play completely different.
They play different.
And it's interesting because I don't know if there's another time in gaming history, because there's been collab studios that's come together and worked on games before, but not the two main characters, and they're both being developed by two different studios.
Yeah, it's fine. And the way it was explained to me from Team Ninja, they wanted to go with the aesthetic with Ryu of being the stronger, more physically imposing kind of character, whereas what you call it could be more aggressive, in your face. Yakumo with his twin store style. Now we did get a
Yeah,
chance. They debuted.
Yakumo seems like he's just going to come at you with everything he's got,
Yeah.
and Ryo's going to come at you with everything he's got, but it's going to be more precise.
Yeah.
When he draws his sword, he
up.
wants you. It's you done.
Yeah, you done. Like, it's power, it's precision, it's done. And the thing too is that what's cool is though the nice twist is that they debuted a new weapon for Yakumo, which is called the rapier, and it's almost like this big drill kind of. Yeah. And the thing that's so cool about this is the thing that's going to fundamentally change Ninja Gaiden off the top. Being able to switch weapons on the fly. It is a huge deal. Like, just press the directional pad to the right, left, and then boom, you've got the rapier. You could go back to the double side. Like, that is now adding another layer to the game. I thought was cool. I love you can mold the slide and stuff like that, but it's just so much that it's small little things, but it's going to add more to the depth of it, I feel, long term to the game. You were going to say something.
And the good thing I really enjoy about it's like I said, like, not only do they have different playing styles, you could tell that it's just experiences too. They literally developed in Lord Cardi could say everyone developing from Yasuma's side are young. Yeah, so when they were making his character, you could tell that he has more perspective of someone of a lot more developers that are on the younger side. And Ryo, I'm assuming a lot more vets make him, and he fights like someone that is that has been around the block multiple times. And the other person just like, I'm gonna be on you because that's the only thing I know how to do. Because he doesn't have the experience. So
talking that talk too, be like, stay out of this, Hayabusa. I got that. And then shout out to the clique. Narratively, I want to shout out to Raven Clan's clique. They're a bunch of young ninjas, and they're using tech, and everything's about the Raven. And then they've got other things that they could do. When he goes through the stages, there's training missions. They give you secret little daily missions and objectives that you could do within the stage that you could get bonus ninja points to get your skill tree up and stuff like that. Now, for the sake of the demo and the preview build that we have, they're giving us all the tools. A lot of this stuff we're going to have to earn ourselves, but you could see that it is extremely, extremely vast. This game is very deeper than you think. It's a lot of moves, there's a lot of things going on, but the thing I want to stress too is that for those who are intimidated, because let's be real, Ninja Gaiden has always been a historically very difficult.
I did notice they put a lot of things in the game to make it a lot more accessible without, like, a lot of these type of games are like, look, if you're losing, lower the difficulty. Cog's about to explain. They give you more options just lowering the difficulty.
Absolutely. And I think so for those who are intimidated, it's like, okay, cool. If you play on normal, right? And let's just say you're fighting a boss and you keep getting wrecked. Right, one of the NPCs who you go to train missions and stuff like that, he may say, "Hey, man, want a little light? We might give you a little life potion, extra life potion." You know what I'm saying, on the field, and you have the option, I believe, to choose or not take it. But again, it's a slow nudge to say, okay, we're seeing you're struggling here. You have the option to do that. Also, now, granted, if the game is too hard, you can bring the difficulty level down.
Yeah, and it's on the game over screen.
In the game, you can bring it down, say kind of thing. But what I like is the balance is that for the people who are the hardcore, obviously you have the Master Ninja mode, you have that. But the thing that the game really does well, besides the challenge mode, I want to highlight is this thing called, they're on the map, they're called purgatory modes. And these special things, you find them throughout the map. These missions are some of the most challenging missions in the game, and you can get rewarded crazily for it, and a lot of items and a lot of unique things. And then also you could take it a step further. You can wager your life bar. So if you think you're nice, you're like, you know what? I'm coming in with 50% health or 75% health. And they'll tell you what the rewards are if you do that wager. So that, again, for the high skill level guys, don't worry. Like, this game got you. And I was blessed to see some of the masters at Team Ninja and Platinum Games show us how, like, people were playing on Master Ninja. I'm like, bro, I can't even. There's no way I can do these things.
You can't even keep up what's on the screen.
I can't even keep up. And the last thing I want to mention about skill level is, again, they've added the parry, right? If you hit your weapon at the same time an enemy hits your weapon, boom, then you press up. You could do counters. You could get behind the enemy. Again, high level play. And the other thing that I liked is that if you do the perfect dodge, when you see the silhouette of your character dodge at the perfect time, do certain stuff. So they've got very high level moves for the master level people. So it's like they hooking up the Souls community people, but they also hooking up the people who like, hey, this ain't my thing, and I'm struggling out here. So
Yeah.
and you can adjust how you want to play. And I thought that
I
was
would
dope for
say this
accessibility.
is a very good middle vein between games like Devil May Cry, older Ninja Gaidens, but they are taking some of the cues from like Souls-like games. Now, I would not call this a Souls-like game. I
No.
don't think this is anything remotely close to a Souls-like game, but I would say they are aiming for that audience.
Yes, good point. And Nikao Side did say that. He said, look, we want to buck the trend. We know the trend is souls right now, but we want speed. We want fast. So we're still on our own lane and to prove that that style of game from back in the day can exist now with all these new tools and stuff. But yeah, it could, this is a weird one where it could satisfy both audiences. And I told him, I said, I think you guys did a fantastic job. Well, I think both audiences can be served and still have a lot of fun. And it's so stylish. It's so beautiful looking. Oh my God, this game's crazy.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. What we got for first, I want to be very transparent. Any gameplay you see, it was not our gameplay. It was B-roll.
Yes.
You know, I will probably try to the best of my ability have what we're talking on the screen because, like for instance, like the game over screen, I don't know if that's going to be in the B-roll. So just be transparent. None of this was our gameplay. It was provided to us by Xbox. But that's a common practice. I don't want people thinking that's like, oh, they're hiding stuff. No, that's very common. Because here, at the end of the day, I was getting wrecked. I wouldn't want my gameplay being representing of the game either. So I can understand for this particular type of game, they're like, look, we'll provide you with the gameplay because we know some of you gonna make our game look whack. So
that may have been the intention. Guys like me, you don't want to see me dying 1,000 times. It's not gonna be fun. It's not gonna be aesthetically pleasing. I do want to shout them out. Oh, another thing, obviously we talked about traversal, much more easier. For those Ninja Gaiden, OGs, one thing that you love is the wall run on the side. Like now he stays on it for a long time. There's also
and there's some platforming too. Some
bro,
interesting platforming.
Stage 2 is something else to start off. Amazing platforming. And one thing we need to talk about is just the aesthetic. This is dark Tokyo, almost like a cyberpunk demon infested kind of feel. It's just you got the rain coming down, a real Engine 5 looking good. You've got again the speed of the game, which we could consistently mention it. But also one thing that did surprise me that I had asked them too is that I've never seen this in a stealth in a Ninja Gaiden game. Now it's not my nitpick. It's not full stealth. You can't crouch and do true Tenchu stuff, but on some levels, you can, if you get behind the enemy, they don't notice you. You have the assassinate option. And I thought that was really cool. And I spoke to him. I said, hey, this is new to Ninja Gaiden game. And then, shout out to the lead designer, Alvin. He's like, yeah, did you like it? He's like, we put that in. Like, Platinum's like, yeah, we did that. Like, you could tell Platinum's got all these cool ideas. They want to make the game fast. They want to do stealth things. They want to do all this new energy. And I have to admit, Attic, it was... It's kind of refreshing to see the young people in the building with all this stuff and to see Team Ninja trust them to do these things in a Ninja Gaiden game was really cool to see. So shout out to them, man. And the music, with the boss battle, shout out to them again. Like there's a ramp up, when you're fighting these bosses and it's things start, it's kind of like heavy metal, I'm heavy metal cog. It felt heavy metal, you know what I'm saying, on certain ones. And
Definitely not heavy metal.
Okay, well, it felt hardcore a little bit to me. But what you notice, I don't know when you fighting the boss, because you're the boss guy. Did you see underneath the ball? You see like the little meter that says, okay, now the boss is going to go into a second phase. You see like
Yeah. There was multiple health bars.
Yeah,
sure.
and I saw. Okay, cool. But like, how did you feel? Let me bring it back to you. Like, how did you feel? You're the boss guy. How did you feel about any of the boss counters that you encountered? Were they up to attic snuff? Did you feel good about them?
As far as like bosses itself, I'd have to fight more than just like the tutorial boss to really give an analysis on if I feel like they have good bosses. I feel like they have unique bosses. I fought a chick with an umbrella, and she was pretty unique on that terms. I've seen a couple other things that would probably be in the B-roll at this point. I do feel like they are challenging bosses, and very good good movesets, good changing things around. I always like when bosses change their transformation mid-fight. It doesn't always have to be a completely different health bar or anything like that. Just change things up. Don't try to hit me with the same two moves and then because like in a real life scenario, people do more desperate things when they're injured more. Absolutely. And I like seeing that in games. So, but I would say, like, in my perspective, like, I really enjoyed what I played. I wouldn't say it was like the greatest experience when it comes to quick things, because I will say that, like, this type of game, there was a learning curve and it caught me off guard. Yes. And I would have to be like one of those things where it's like I don't like jumping into story and stuff when it comes to like these betas or anything like that. But I will have to say that in terms of like just the movement and the combat itself, I'm not used to this type of combat style. So there's probably more of a learning gap for me than it would be for someone like you. And not to mention I was jumping between both characters and not really learning any of the characters. But I did feel like I played Ryu a lot better than I played the other character.
It's a good call-out.
Yeah, he seemed to be a little bit more, not necessarily aggressive, but when I felt like I hit people in combos, they stayed in the combos and didn't just slip out. So it's going to be an interesting time. I do think they got something unique here. I'm very curious to see, especially how they do this. Two main protagonists, because we've seen time and time again when you try this, most of the time it doesn't hit.
Right. No, it's a good call out. I think it's fair to say that, even when I first started, I'm a person who's played the Ninja Gaiden series. Well, it's intimidating. There's a lot of tools at your disposal. There's a lot of things you have to learn. Left trigger to switch to the stances and to do the different modes and stuff like that. And then you got the charge up moves. You got the ultimate techniques. There's so much to it. It can be overwhelming. There is no question about that. And to your point, this is what I'll say. If the first two levels are indicative of how the rest of the game is going to go, we're in good hands. But again, they've got to nail the story. They've got to do respect to a narrative and then keep ramping stuff up and, getting people excited and stuff like that. So we will see. But I just thought this was a fantastic start and a new evolution to the series that I thought was really cool. I'm excited to see where it goes in that respect. But yeah, man, there's a lot here. And another thing I want to say too is that when you were talking about bosses and ramping up and seeing mechanics, one thing I like about this game, the enemies be talking like, he got my arm, what I'm saying? Or like Yakumo will be like, look, he'd be like, the boss will talk to him like, this will be the end of your days here. Man, I'm about to destroy you. Like you will be talking like this game is a lot of talking in a way.
It's gonna be interesting when Ryu and he fights.
Yes, that's gonna be interesting. So again, it just adds to the flavor of what's going on. And shout out to the grappling hook that they got going on in the movement. There's a lot going on, man. It's really cool. And you better prioritize the rocket dudes from afar. During the stages, you better get your what is it, the targeting, because Dark Souls games, I'm terrible with this, so I had to learn this now. And it's specifically when you got to focus on key enemies that will give you problems if you do not take care of them in the mix, because you will get jumped in this game a lot.
Yeah, so I think pretty much that. Once again, shout out to Team Ninja, Platinum, Xbox for giving us this opportunity to try it, Ninja Gaiden 4, give you guys our opinion on it. Definitely very, very, this game went from I wasn't really looking forward to this game at all to now at least I'm looking at it. Now I know it comes out in October. I didn't know until this. It was just always a game that I was going to play to give you guys my opinion, and I didn't know. It's kind of like an Indiana Jones, where it's like, okay, this game kind of gauges my interest, but I don't know. But it went from not gauging my interest to at least I'm looking forward to trying out the actual game off of what I played. But this is Lord Addict and Lord Cognito, and we are out of here. Peace.
Year of the Ninja. Peace.